All right. Good morning, everyone. It's 6 a.m. here in Sydney. We've just had daylight saving kick in last week, so it's a little bit more of a friendly starting time for me, starting at 6 a.m. instead of 5 a.m. We're about a minute out from starting Crazyhouse Weekly 26. While I've got a minute to spare, I thought I'd flick up uh, this page, which is my donation page for the next fundraising event I'll be participating in. So you may remember, those who are following, a couple of months ago we had the cancer donations tin drive. I was attempting to raise about $500 for cancer. I'll be doing a new event called the Seven Bridges Walk, where we're walking a full distance of 28 kilometers, which is doubling the distance that I did last time, 14 kilometers. Last time the push on my channel was very successful. I did make my target of $500, and I think about 380 of that came from the channel. So I will be putting the link below in the stream today. If you feel inclined to donate, please go to the website. Your support will be much appreciated. Of course, there's no obligation. It's just if you feel like it. So we're 10 seconds out now, so we're going to get going with the play. Good luck to all players. Let's have some fun. Enjoy the stream. Okay, I'm starting against Blitz Bullet. The time limit we've got today is 3 minutes plus no increment. Last couple of weeks I've had 3 minutes plus 2 seconds, so this is a little bit different in that the advantage is not so great when a player is now berserking. Okay. So my king's got a few gaps here at the moment. I've got to be quite careful about how I manage this. Um, I'm being quite adventurous here, but also importantly, um, yeah, if I'm backing off too much as well, I can find myself in a situation where uh, I'm just giving away all of the pieces and getting a passive position. So yeah, I avoided king g1 earlier when the knight was here because of rook at h1 check, and my king would be forced to take, and then knight f2 was forking. Sometimes it's a case where you kind of need to commit wholeheartedly and try to take a whole lot of pieces, or else your opponent will just walk all over you. So this is a bit of a case of me trying to, in a sense, take all the pieces and call a bluff, if you like. But you can see my king's right in the middle. There's a lot of risk in doing this. I'm going to continue with a theme which is quite risky. So he's going to look at trading queens. Play a sharp move here, knight at h6. Okay. So my opponent's opted for a safe move, bishop h6, and I assume he'll try to continue quite aggressively. I have been able to pick off his queen, but now he's going to be very safe for the rest of the game. I'm playing knight at e3 to hit the bishop, but also to cover g4, so that when the king moves here, I've got a bit of cover. But it may not be enough. I'm in some big trouble here now. Yeah, he's played very well to keep his attack going, and I'm now short on time. That's a loss for sure. Rook h2, knight f2. So I've run short on time there, and he's played a very good practical game. I think black is better anyway in the final position. I've had to defend more accurately. So yeah, I didn't mind it while my king was still on e4, but I've not converted properly there. So a nice game from Blitzbullet. A nice change for me also. Not playing Opper-Wesen in the first round. That's normally Opper-Wesen every match. Okay, so we're up against Murph here now. This is a player I'm not familiar with. Okay, I'm going to have a look at the channel comments for a moment. So, a few good luck wishes. Daddy Walker, he's saying, "You never made my cancer donations tin analysis." Well, I may just have to do that. Daddy was quite cheeky. He actually put forward a 4-move checkmate as his game that he wished to have analysed. But what I might be able to do with that is actually show, yeah, a few lines relating to the 4-move checkmate and how that can progress within Crazyhouse. Alternatively, Danny, if you have a game that goes longer than 4-move checkmate that you'd like to substitute instead, you could put that forward as well. It was just going to make for a very short video, so it wasn't high on the priority list, but we can go with that. Hugo Whalen is asking what my IQ is. I don't know what my IQ is. I would think, yeah, I'm not so sure on how widely used it is now, or what the validity is of IQ tests. Some suggest it's a good indicator of how well you can do an IQ test. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure. It would have been fine capturing this. It's really trivial. I mean, I'm looking at knight at e2 here as a threat, which is supported by this knight. But bishop at f5 neutralizes the threat on h3. All right, so I'm up and away. 3 points. I think it's going to be a really unforgiving tournament, this 3+0. 12 teams already kicked off with 15. 12-teen last week. He won both events, both the Madness event, which is 32nd, and also this event, which was 3+2. So that was an outstanding result. He's in fine form at the moment. Okay, I'm going to grab this knight. The move c6 leaves a gap on c7, which now makes knight at c7 a possibility. That's indirectly defending this bishop on d5. So I've been able to continue taking pawns and attacking things, putting pressure on f7. I've decided to take on f7 because I've got a number of pawns in hand. I'm going to start with queen h5 check, get active. Knight at e5 is going to be my next play. So the knight's also going to attack the bishop. So the moves from here continue quite naturally. So black's already mated from here. If he goes in the corner, knight takes g6 as mate. If the king goes to f8, rook at g8 mates. If capture here, and then we follow with rook at g8. And after all the captures on g8, there's pawn at f7 and queen at g8 to finish. Danny Walker makes a point. You always say how little time you have. A short video should make you happy. That's a good point, Danny. Okay, Vana GX. The 12 team absolutely flying out of the blocks. I've got a long way to make up. Queen h5, that's a good move. Yeah, so he's putting some pressure on me pretty early. I'm going to allow this because this queen is on a square where it's not actually defended by this pawn, it's pinned. And so, while it's a swap queen for queen, I get the first attack threat, which is queen at h1. That puts his king in a little more danger than mine. I need to be careful how I proceed here, though. Yeah, I'm actually going to back it off. I've only got 30 seconds left. I'm looking at moves like bishop takes f2 to make pawn at g3 a threat. I can't necessarily take this easily just yet because bishop takes f7. I also don't want to trade two knights straight away because that opens threats like knight at h6 and knight at f6. I'm proceeding this way. So best move king g1, avoids getting mated, and then I'm just going to clean up some material. So I'm confident I've got a material advantage here and a mate threat here. I should have an advantage. Key factor now is the clock, really. Okay, look at 12 24, followed by atrophied 14. Lots to catch up here. I think in the form that 12's at, any loss here puts you a long way behind. But there's also the need to win games quickly, not just win games. Okay. So I'm up against a perk setup here, um, taking a pressure on h6. Alright, I'm happy to have a pawn to put here straight away. So in this position I need to make some trades to open it up appropriately. I do also need to look out for pawn at h3 because the trades can open up um, against my favor in some cases. I need to make sure that I treat that with the right respect that it deserves. So right now you can see the theme of my play is all aimed at dark squares. So he might be considering something like knight d5 at the moment. That opens up attack opportunities with knight at h3. And there's a trade-off here where he might have pawn at g2, king takes, knight f4. He's played knight f4 first. And I don't have a direct mate threat on him just yet. So pawn at g2 and rook at g1 are potential threats. This actually gives me some safety here, which gives me some time to move. Rook at g1 might look dangerous, but after takes, knight at f2, king g2, there's no actual mate. So here, white's now threatening knight at f6, threatening g takes h8, king h8, queen at g7. So white looks like he'll be getting in first. If pawn at g2, queen takes is fine. Okay, do some work. Ivan, he says, John, I have a very important question. Do you have any pets? I don't have pets actually. One day I'd probably like to have some pets, but no, not even a goldfish at the moment. Yeah, I think it'd be good to have a pet that my daughter, who's now about 3 years old, turning 4. It'd be good for her to have a pet to look after, perhaps. So yeah, just to become familiar with animals and have responsibility for a life that's under her wing, so to speak. But yeah, not at the moment. Okay, got a standard e4, e5 position. Now, when I look at this, I see, white's got a couple pawns in my half. The one on b5 doesn't really matter. But knight at d5 is the move I'm looking at as white's penetration square, and that really leads me to play knight at f4, because then knight at f4 defends, but it also attacks quite nicely at the same time. So yeah, here I'm going to decide to trade queens because I think it's beneficial to me. While my king's got a few gaps around it, it's not easy for white to penetrate. Black's got some very direct threats on the white king with the likes of knight at e2 or knight at h3. White has actually a hard time checking the king because h3, h4, the whole line is covered. There's no knight checks coming in this way. So, having a look at the queen trade and the resulting position after that, I've gone into it knowing that it's a long way ahead for black in terms of the tactics. Okay. Still a long way behind 12-10. He's in dashing form here. So he's up against Schroer at the moment. It looks like he's giving him a run for his money. Okay. Hugo Whalen, he says, what do you have for hobbies other than chess? Honestly, at the moment, it's probably my daughter. She can soak up the rest of my time, if you call that a hobby. Yeah, whenever I can, just getting family time in. Okay. Now, this is the first time I've not seen my queen captured in this instance. That seems to be the most popular response. My opponent's put his queen in a position where it can get hit a few times. So against c3, that's actually quite an aggressive play. I feel that if black goes passive there, then black runs into problems. So I'm always very aggressive trying to take this opening head on. Alright, so we'll have mate here. Okay, good quick win. Got to try to catch up some ground. Okay, grand lap in. So I've played a bishop e7 for a change. Both are playable in e4, e5 positions. It's just to mix things up a little bit. I've got to cover this pawn just because it's attacked twice, so I don't want to lose that. So playing b4 is undermining the defender on e4. Let's grab this one. Alright, a minute to go. Gotta start moving. This bishop's hitting me here. I want to alleviate the pressure. I've got a knight giving me some defense on the light squares. I could take a hit on g6 temporarily. And this knight's also an attacking piece. So let's just get my king secure first. And then we'll start trying to open up the position. So I'm looking at knight at f3 now. And I want more ammunition to hit it. Yeah, there's some options here. So if knight takes, knight at f3 will mate. I'm looking just now to get pawn at g3 in with check. Okay. 12-10, still not lost the game from the start. Okay, here we go. Thomas Krosky. He's got something. Okay, chicken's gone to berserk, so I'll berserk as well. Before I read comments, I better focus on this game. Thomas Krosky's written a couple of long responses, but I feel like I should have a good move here. So yeah, bishop f7 is also a possibility. Okay, knight f4. I will take it. I'm going to hit this knight. I expect chicken crossroad to try to hold on to every bit of material here. I'm being quite ambitious with this attacking opportunity. I'm basically saying if you take all my pieces, I'm going to come in 95. That's not the most comfortable position to defend. He may need to allow me this bishop. No, he's going to take everything. Okay, I feel like there should be mate somewhere to follow. Bishop at f7 makes sense. What I just need to first focus on is prevent the king going backwards. So that adequately does that. Yeah, this just looks too dangerous for black. I don't think, yeah, I think once he takes the bishop, he's walking into a minefield there. Maybe he had to play something like bishop d6 to allow f8 for his king to retreat to. Okay, Thomas Grossi. Hey, Jan, he says, unsolicited channel feedback. As you always say, you're looking for unique positions, but I'd say 99% of the time you stick with your very solid system. I'd love to see a training grounds video or two where you consistently play unorthodox openings, or at least lines you don't normally play, so viewers can see how you treat a wider variety of setup and structures. Okay, fair piece of feedback. Thanks for that, Thomas. So he's basically saying, because I'm saying I like unfamiliar positions, but we go through similar ones quite often. I think, yeah, there's unfamiliar positions from move one, and then there's unfamiliar positions a couple moves in from the opening as well. Yep, I don't mind that piece of feedback, but it doesn't really change how I'm viewing things. I still feel that that there's probably a large number of moves where we can kick off with, and it's actually better or worse for one side or the other. Yeah, I mean, and like Crazyhouse 960 would actually be the best way to go. I mean, that would make it all imbalanced from move one. That's the ideal. Okay, knight h5 played. I'm tempted to play g4 here, but that opens up some tactics. Yeah, okay, let's go for it. Pawn at G2 could come in, yeah, that's expected. And then he might capture here, but I think he's got to be careful with what can happen on the back. Alright, I'm just going to move so I don't lose on time. I want to undermine this knight before I play a move like queen takes d4. Yeah, there's a tactic here to be careful of. Okay, secured himself a little bit. Now the clock is what concerns me. Let's go, go, go. Okay, I ended up generating a lot of pressure on the dark squares in the end. Yeah, another comment to Kroski is that perhaps with the shorter time limits in the training grounds, there's yeah, there's it isn't so bad to have a few familiar moves to begin with. But also, like Oppa Wesson has done a lot of the sessions, and he's creating a lot of unfamiliar positions without me having to try too hard actually. Um, but yeah, if a game's going kind of 10 moves in and it's all looking quite familiar, I can understand what he's saying. Okay, this is certainly something new. I've probably got a material advantage here, and I'm just trying to prevent all the checks from happening here. Bishop at h5 is a natural continuation to get some pressure. He's since covered that off, so I'm going to change tack and look at hitting the dark squares instead. Uh, I think I've pronounced the name wrongly. Braid 16, he says, it's very funny the way you pronounced Grand Lapin. I suppose it's probably a French word that might be Grand Lapin or something. I'm not sure. It says it's French for tall rabbit. Maybe I should say tall rabbit so I don't butcher the French. Um, no, the French don't like having their language spoilt. Hugo Whalen asks, Jan, if you had a blitz, bullet, and a classical rating on Lichess, what would the rating be? I actually don't know. I'd have to play to find out. There's no way of answering that one. I mean, I was maybe 2250 FIDE rated many years ago before I stopped playing competitive chess, if that gives you an indication. Okay, so I want to get a check in here. If he goes king d7, knight at c5, mates. Knight e5 is there. I'm going to just harass this piece. There we go. do some work. Ivan is asking, you're going to make another Bughouse video sometime. Yeah, that should happen. Another Bughouse video should happen. Mustard Boy 314 says +1 for Bughouse. Yeah, uh, it seems to be a popular video, so it should happen. Okay, Gabix94, he's going to berserk as well. Alright, let's see how we proceed here. Queen h5, perhaps. It looks dangerous. We'll do it anyway. Knight g6 check is coming. I'm going to have to capture it with the queen because it reveals this discovery. I'll get an open line here. I want to hit fairly accurately. There's f3 and f2 are my targets. And he's trying to be sharp tactically with the queen at g8, knight f7 trick, but this actually leaves a possible defense. Let's grab. Yeah, I'll play pawn at d2 first. I just want to make sure that king is one step closer in the open. I've now achieved safety here. So 6 points behind 12-10. He's up against chicken at the moment. I've got to try to lift the pace and catch up. Okay, quite a symmetrical position here. Played Schroer a few times before. He's quite a solid player. It's going to be a bit of a slow grind this game. So my path to progress here, I'm looking at this pin with the queen on e2. White can't put a piece. Normally a queen's on d1 in some cases, and so like a bishop e2 isn't possible here. So I'm putting this on g4. He's quickly identified it might be a good idea to attack that early. I've got ideas. Maybe at some stage opening a position with knight d4, but I don't think it benefits me at the moment. So I'm going to hit here. Alright, let's try now. There's a bit more vacancy on f3. This is nothing decisive yet. It's just making some play. Okay, but now he's parted with the queen. I really want to hit these light squares. And all the while, you know, I've still got a very safe king here, so I've been able to win some material at the end of all this. Okay. Now, rather than play pawn at f3 straight away, I'm actually building up. See how I should do this. Maybe queen d6. I actually want to get pawn at f3 in where it's not going to get captured. So I'm removing this defender of f3 before I want to put a pawn on there. And so rather than accept that I would win a piece for a pawn or something like that, it's more about square control. Because ultimately I want to remove this and put a knight on f3. That's my way in. Danny Walker says, are you planning on having more children in case your daughter doesn't want to play Crazy House? No, it's not a good enough reason to decide whether to have kids or not. It's yeah. We may decide to have another child. We may not. Um, yeah, time will tell on that one. That's a big question of us. Actually, there's a lot more to it than whether or not the child plays Crazy House. If only it were that simple. Okay, I've got 23 seconds here. The only risk is the clock right now. Knight at f3 is the way to go. All right, 12 teams dropped a match. Looks like Chicken must have taken him down, but he's got back on the horse pretty quickly. Okay, Chicken's going to berserk, so I will as well. Okay. So French has been becoming a bit more popular recently. I'm going to trap this bishop. He's allowed that, which is a little bit uncharacteristic of my opponent. So before rook e8 gets in, I want to hit here. Yeah, I think that's worthwhile capturing at this stage. Oh, queen e7. Yeah, we might block that off. I'm not going to recapture with the king. I'll capture with the bishop. That allows him to capture this knight. And I think he's come out a little bit better of the opening than I'd like him to. Starting to get the attack rolling. He's made my knight takes f7 move look like a mistake, which is very good. Oh, that's a bit nasty. Okay, running short on time now. Gotta go. I don't like the way I'm playing this. This one's gonna hurt me. No, I like his move, Queen e7, and I think he's made me take the wrong option with Queen e2. It's a good unfamiliar opening there, where he's just played better. Maybe instead what I should do instead of bishop c4 is just cash in on the b6 bishop. But you can see that's now cost me dearly because I'm now going to step a long way behind 12-10 again. Okay, Corelli one. Got to catch up. Okay, let's get attacking as soon as we can. So black here doesn't have any direct mate threat. It's more about putting a dent in the light squares to start with. Yeah, after a move like this though, I'm inclined to take it and capture here. It takes here pawn at e2 now, and this is actually a significant road in for black. I'm now getting this recapture with check, so I have the option of taking the queen. And now it gets very decisive. Uh, okay, John Doyle, it says, who is the highest rated traditional chess player you've ever played in Crazyhouse? That would probably have to be Levon Aronian. Okay, I won't berserk this one if he's not going to come. So, yeah, Levon Aronian at one stage was quite a bit more active in Crazyhouse and Bughouse. Incredibly talented. He could pick up the game so fast. Okay. Certainly an unfamiliar territory by now. Oh, this is interesting. We've got some tactical exchanges in the center. So he's sacrificed a piece with 2 pawns, but I'm going to capture here. I'm expecting something like rook f8. Okay, not what I expected. I want to try to make a point of these weaknesses while I still can. Oh wow, really? Okay, I'm not entirely following. Let's make a dent here. So this knight's hanging, but I'm looking at h takes g6 as something quite dangerous. Yeah, there's a fair bit to think about here. If he captures here, I can take on g6 and knight at h7 becomes a threat. If he takes here, I should probably play knight g3 to try to undermine h5. I just basically need to try to keep this open line and keep his king less safe than mine. I already have a material advantage with one extra piece, so... Okay, he's come up with queen h4. What's that doing? It's full of tricks, I think. No, I am going to capture this. He's got some ideas where takes, knight h7, takes, and then you'll have two knights in hand to attack with. So pawn at g3, does he have a nasty check like knight h? No, knight h3 is not going to work. Knight f3, no. I need to knock this queen away, because if I don't do that first, it's going to be dangerous. If I can knock the queen away, knight at h7 becomes very dangerous for him. So if he tries to take the rook, I should be able to capture the queen, because knight at e2 is not dangerous. He plays knight at h3 check. I think taking is inaccurate because it allows queen h3. I'd prefer king h2 instead. Okay, he's keeping the queen on this line. So that holds all the tactics in place. I'm taking too much time on this move. So he's gone with the aggressive play. Okay, time's short. I've got to move. Oh, that's a nasty move. I think he's found a mate, potentially. I should have come back to h1, then I could play queen d5. Nice game. Nice game. He deserved to win that one. Pawn at h2 was a really nice find, and I was a bit too relaxed playing knight at h7 too early. I'm a bit disappointed with how I finished that, because I think I had better chances. But he's in fine form. That's good play. I know we've still got more than an hour to go, but I feel like he's already running away with the tournament. Okay. Oh, my opponent didn't move in time. TNBM says when he played queen check, was playing 95, discovered check when blocking his check a bad move. I think TNBM's referring to the game I played against Chicken Crossroad. Yeah, 95 wasn't good because he can just play king h8 and then he'd have two pieces attacking. Alright, my opponent's going to berserk, so I'll come along. he had the knight on c6 and queen on e7 attacking an unguarded piece on e5, so it would be hard for me to defend it. Okay, that's a d4 d5 position that's evolved into something a little bit different. I want to put some pressure on e3. I feel like it's the clock I've got to watch most here. My opponent can finish very well. I've allowed too much, actually. Just going to try to undermine things going on around my king. Ooh, I don't like that move. It's finding ways to put holes in my position. Actually required to run out. Yeah, not happy with the way I played this one. I'm going to throw in the towel. Not happy with that at all. I had a much better middle game, and I just allowed some dark square weaknesses on the king side, which just should have never happened. Okay, back to trying to build up the multiplier. 12-10 again. Alright, we're 1 hour down. I've got an hour to redeem myself. Okay, he's proceeded very solid. Okay, here's not easy. Both of us have to figure out how to crack the middle game position. No, I should just capture this. Okay. Oh, yeah, I'm allowing too much again. It's too dangerous to allow. Knight at e5 is dangerous. I should put the bishop on g6 before. I'm in big trouble here. Yeah, nice, nice. He's too good today for me. I think bishop at f5 is not really an accurate defensive move. Maybe bishop at g6 was better. Um, but even then, it's questionable if my f4 play is breaking open the position at the right time. Okay, this position I'm looking to secure e6 and really claim it. Um, well, my opponent didn't like that position at all. He resigned. Um, let's go have a look at some comments. Freight16 says, in normal chess, do you consider yourself more of a positional or a tactical player? Definitely a tactical player. Okay, Atrophied. I haven't played Atrophied for a while. Good to see he's playing in the events again. No, definitely tactical. It's the reason why I really picked up Crazyhouse. It's interesting. I'm going to decline the sack on g5. It's not so bad, but I'm going to let it go. This is not really an ideal square. I think he's done quite nicely for himself out of the opening. So now e8's hanging. I need to, yeah, potentially. I'm going to allow rook at e8. Oh wow. Gonna hit me with pawn at f7. Yeah, queen takes g4 is crushing. If bishop takes g4, pawn at f7, and then rook at g8. I've just had a horrible spell after doing quite well in the first section here. Getting absolutely destroyed. Alright, let's try to put a better performance in against 12 team. I need to shift gears with 55 minutes to go. I'm just going to allow this captures to happen if he wants them to. Wow, that looks risky. Right now my mind's thinking knight at f6 and how I can distract this queen in the right manner. I was considering c3, but then after takes, he gets a tempo to defend f6. I want to do it this way. If I can trade the queen and get knight at f6, then I'll be better. So he's made a defensive sacrifice there. Okay, so the game's on now. I think my play is going to be coming in on the light squares. Okay. Gotta watch this clock now. Oh, no, he's allowed knight at g5. Okay, I'll book a win here. No, but I like that I actually opted to look for the light square weaknesses there instead of go for the dark squares. That was key. And I think when he sensed he was low on time and I was coming in the light squares, he felt the need to accelerate an attack out of nowhere. But he didn't have the material to do so. Okay, pure essence. Yeah, I won't berserk this game. Queen h5. This is an interesting one to play against. So, on the topic of Danny Walker asking for 4-move checkmate, this is one of the interesting lines that can emerge after Queen h5. And it can be a little bit cat and mouse here. White actually might not mind black capturing the queen because after this capture, white can look quite safe, and then knight at f7 can be a way to continue. Black's trying to undermine the defense on f7, without necessarily untangling white altogether. So now he's trying to go for knight at f7 this way. Or should I cash in on the queen? I might go here first. This is really where Crazyhouse is crazy, and you would think, well, both of them have queens under attack, and how come this queen's still not being taken, and you opt for something else here? Yeah, I'm kind of opting more for initiative rather than material gain, and I feel like the initiative that I can achieve by capturing this side is greater. I do need to watch out for things like knight at b5. Have I miscalculated something here? Yes, I have. So it changes things now that he's got. Now I don't have an attack on b3. There was a defense I had, which defensive resource, which is no longer there. What I was thinking is if knight takes g1, knight at b5. Before I couldn't play king e7 because he had pawn at d6 mate, and then I was takes, king c6, pawn at d5, king b6. Earlier, it may not have been a problem because I had a knight on d4 that was covering b5. Anyway, whole lot of gobbledygook there, but that's what was going on in my head. I've chosen to recapture this rook instead of the knight because that rook and the attack I get with rook at f1 is much more valuable than this knight. I've put my king in a place where he doesn't have a knight in hand, so knight at b5 is no longer possible. The light squares are covered. Sorry, the dark squares are covered here. Pawn at b6 takes, king takes. Knight a4 is not possible because of rook a4. Knight e6 doesn't go anywhere. So he's now faced with a rook at f1 threat with queen at e1 to block only. I'm going to capture this one. I think he's looking at queen c3 check to get on e5. I'm just going to block it, prevent that check from coming in, because now I'm threatening pawn at e2 and rook at d1 with this knight no longer here. Yeah, so pretty intense on the tactics and the different ways of playing this position. There's a lot to consider. I hope it's not all been too chaotic how I've tried to explain things, because I've explained them after I've moved. Okay. Got enough coverage on the light squares to cover checks. So yeah, happy with how I've played that one. But I've now left myself too far behind. It's really too many losses in the middle here. Okay, huzzah. I'll try to catch up on some comments. So it says, Ilan Mirovic says, JannLee Mississippi player here. Hi Mississippi player, good to see you on the channel. You've been playing outstanding in recent months. Question is, chess.com has Bughouse now, have you checked it out? Yes, I've more than checked it out. I've actually created a video on my channel. I did a dual recording with Atrophied about a week ago. It's just called Bughouse Concepts, Atrophied and JannLee. So you can check that out if you like. Yeah, I think there's still perhaps some room for improvement on what can be done on the interface on chess.com. I mean, we connected by Skype, which is not something that I did before while playing on fix, but the website itself doesn't really allow easy communication between partners. Um, so that was my only piece of feedback with regards to the interface. But everything works there. The clocks tick appropriately. The pieces are transferred to partners. It seems to be quite active. I think it's basically you can go into a random pool, which is not something that Fix had. And it seems that we always got opponents instantly. So yeah, it's good that a big site like chess.com is introducing a variant like Bughouse. I think if you're connected by Skype with your partner, then it makes things a lot easier. But um, it's also not something that a website should assume that everyone's doing. And if there's a team not using Skype, there's a significant disadvantage. Um, and Michael's funny. He says, "John, take my energy." I suppose that's a reference to me not playing so well. Okay, so knight at g5, looking to seal this game off. A combination of knight e6 and pawn at f7 should form a mating net. Okay, it's not over till it's over. Oh, someone put another dent into 12-10. Or was that me, actually? That was probably me. I forgot that. Maybe I need more sleep. Okay, we're up against Math Ace here, so he's another good player. Um, I haven't berserked this one, which is probably not a bad idea. Okay, we're actually going down some quite familiar lines. So Math Ace and I, during one of the Training Ground series, we played a lot of games heading down this line. So this is largely off memory at the moment still. Okay. I'm playing knight at g8 to cover against some of these threats. I can't play knight e7 because pawn at f6 is too strong. If I move knight a5, pawn at e7 is good too. So white sacrificed a knight so far. I'm going to give one back. And in doing so, it would also harass white's key attacker in the position at the moment. So look, maybe white stands a little bit better here. Black's got a few funny holes in the position, but it's not the end of the world either. Perhaps there's some sharp continuations. Yes, here we go. This is what I thought he might try. 95. I am going to accept the sacrifice. And the idea is, after capture, pawn at f6. So what's critical here? What's critical here? I think I should leave this knight there. Hmm. Or is pawn at e2 way forward? No, pawn at e2 allows knight at h5. That can't be good for black. Yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy from here to figure out the right way forward. Or should I just part with the rook? Spending a long time here. No, we'll go with the knight capture. I think I've got to take this one, or else I'm too far back. This bishop still covers h5, so it's just undermined that one. So I'm in need of some defense, I think. Now this is also sneaking things in. If he wants to come knight f3, knight at e2 actually mates. Because of king h1, queen g2, king takes, pawn at h3, king back, pawn at g2 mates. But queen at g5 is actually a defensive move, preventing knight at h5 and giving some coverage to g7. So material is actually exactly balanced at this stage, but it's unclear exactly who is better here. It's actually not an easy position to play for either side. White also has to be really careful of the mate threats here, and if he doesn't do anything in particular, then black can capture some material. So I'm glad I didn't berserk this one, because I did need the time to actually try to figure it out. Okay, knight f7. So I don't think the mate threats are on. That's a good move. Gonna have to capture this. Okay. Let's finish sharply. Alright. Glad to get out of that one. After he played knight takes c5 and started with pawn at e7, I was really stumped there on how to proceed. But yeah, what was important was probably capturing the correct knight so that I don't have weaknesses around the king. And queen at g5 is critical to defend an attack. Okay, pure essence again. Wow, 12-teen, 113. It's actually absolutely flying now. Alright, because I've got a stronghold here on g7, I want to try to protect that, which is supported by h6, which is generally undermined by knight at g4. So I'm taking measures to prevent that. In fact, I'm just going to castle into this one. Let's take this. So I just want to keep this here, and then that prevents things like that, because I can capture his queen. I can start playing for knight at f6. Without a knight here, I don't think this helps him. But he's got the knight now, because I wasn't looking, was I? That's really unfortunate. How am I going to play against that? b3, I guess. I now need to try to make threats with knight at f6. I've allowed way too much here. It's just a bit loose, allowing bishop c3. So rook e3 is important to cover f3, because otherwise before, if he had knight at f3, I'd be forced to capture with the queen. After check, king g2, the knight goes back to h4, and then my king is most likely mated, or in big trouble with queen at g2 to follow. At least now with the rook capture, I've got a recapture here. Oh wow. Queen d8 just looks like it should win, but knight at f3, take. Yeah, I don't think he'll have enough after knight at f3. Because knight h4 doesn't work now. I think that's a little bit too ambitious. D takes c4. Now queen at h8 is just a threat. Black still was at risk of having this bishop undermined, so the defender not being on f6. Yeah, okay, he's trying to defend now. Knight at e7, a bit of finesse. So this rook's defending a mate threat here. This bishop's defending a mate threat here. And if king h8, then pawn at g7 is fine. So Chicken took a hit from atrophy. 12 teens had a new string. He's been absolutely on fire. He's only lost 2 games today. Okay, 12 teen again. If he berserks, I'll berserk. Alright. I want to put in a good match here. Alright, let's go aggressive. Okay, so I've put in some material on f2. He's given the queen back in an attempt to regain some initiative. I now need to assess if this is actually dangerous or not. I'm just looking at hitting it with pawn at f4. Or should I just grab this? Yeah, I think that's... Or is it even better playing pawn f2 first? No, let's keep it simple. Bishop at e3 is now something I can cash in, or which actually gives me some safety as well. I need to be careful with him having two knights in hand. So he's stopping bishop at e3 with that. Hmm. Okay. Oh wow. Okay. I didn't expect this one. Pawn at f2 looks really dangerous for him. Maybe he's seen better. Or is it bishop f2? No, we'll go with it. Oh, he's got queen h8. That doesn't work. No. Just not playing well enough to take on the big guys today. He's outplayed me there with the tactics. I forgot queen at h8 was possible. I thought I could play bishop takes g3. Yeah, he's definitely got the upper hand. He's in fine form, 12-10. Okay, so black's played a gambit here, which is a pawn sacrifice, which is normally designed to create activity. So as white here, I feel that if I can hold on to the pawn and just block black out with a pawn chain uh, scenario here, then white should stand better. So I feel like I'm achieving that at the moment. So from here, I just want to develop naturally. Okay, that pawn looks like it's hanging. Pawn at d6 could be something to follow up with next. Okay. So yeah, I'm looking at the dark squares here and trying to figure out how I can make something out of that. I need to be careful here. My opponent's developing some play. Rook h3 is a possibility because knight at f3 is quite attractive. So some pieces have come off, but I'm figuring that I should stand better in the attack race. I'm threatening queen at d8, which mates. I've blocked this rather than capture the queen. I'm blocking it with an X-ray defense. He doesn't have a rook to put on f1, so I'm allowed to do that. If he takes queen at d8, we'll mate. Now he's done this. Play a check. And so I basically need to keep ensuring I can either play check or threaten my opponent with mate. Or else a move like queen takes a1 will be devastating for my position. Okay, 24 minutes left. I'm going to have a last dash at it and just berserk heavily from now on. So we're up against Chicken Crossroad. He's going to come with me and berserk. Alright, we went down this French line earlier today and he came out better from it. Maybe here is where I should get bishop c4 in. Try something a little different. Now the difference is here I'll be able to capture this queen with the knight. Yeah, I'll get a bit more ammunition under my belt. So instinctively, not the first move I look at, putting the queen on first. Normally you support an attack with your minor pieces first and save your big ones to put the mate threats on. In this case, I'm noticing there's ways to control some good squares. I'm getting it on first. And it's now looking very dangerous. I played bishop e8 specifically to allow this line to be open, as opposed to bishop at f7. Oh yeah, now there should be mate here. Let's do this properly. We'll push the king well out into the open. Yeah, so slight change there in opening move order, but yeah, my opponent, Chicken, he was just moving a bit too quick and assumed he'd follow the same line with queen e7, but there was a subtle difference in there which made my attack much stronger. So it's always good to vary a little bit if you sense your opponent's going to pre-move or preempt a lot of what you're going to do. Okay, Rai Lopez with exchange here. I quite like this as black. I feel that it actually helps black to develop. There's all natural places for the pieces. White's actually a little bit behind in development now. There's a few risks to be careful of. So now there's weaknesses on the king side. I'm just going to hammer these squares, and then my idea is to play bishop takes f2 and trade off the queens. Alright, taking a little while to get a pairing this time. Okay, Master Heck, I'm not familiar with this opponent. Okay, we're both going with the Fianchetto on the queen side. So I think we'll start with a symmetrical opening, and then we'll see how it develops from there. So I'm putting h6 on just to balance my coverage on the dark squares. With this diagonal looming, before I trade off a pawn, or even attempt to trade off a pawn, I want to ensure that I'm covered against things like pawn at g4 and pawn h6. So with the queen here, I feel like trading the pawns will benefit me slightly better because I have some targets: pawn at e4, pawn at g4, pawn at h3, whereas my opponent doesn't have the same targets to hit. So I think I'll equip myself with another pawn and then start attacking on the king side. Let's be a bit reckless here and just go for it. So white still has plenty of defense on f3. I'm just going to try to make some holes, and then here I've got bishop at e4 to follow. Yeah, I might even just take it. So in a sense, I've sacrificed one pawn here, but my king is comparatively much safer than my opponent's. I now don't have pieces in hand, so I've got to find ways to make trades that will benefit me. So I like bishop f6 because it is really trying to undermine white's only aggressive piece. And bishop at g2, knight h3 is now a mate threat. So I'm also looking for a queen too. So that game is probably more instructive on a strategical level in terms of how to open up a position when both sides haven't committed pieces beyond the third rank. 12-10 is amazing, just absolutely amazing. 145. Okay, so I've got a close race with Chicken Crossroad for second position. So if anything, that's probably my goal. So let's see what 12-10 does here. He's not going to berserk, so I won't either. Going for bishop e2. So I've let myself out with a temporary weakness here. But the idea is I get activity here and my king actually finds safety getting tucked away this side. I'm going to do that before something hits me. Now let's try to make some progress here. So f5 is the target for me. Oh, he's going to allow it. So I'm a pawn up here. Don't mind my position. Now I need to consolidate and stay safe, and then gradually use these pieces, bring them into the game. My opponent's going to try to get active as quickly as he can. So that's his way of trying to get active here. In fact, at this stage, I shouldn't consume too much time playing this. I mean, it's really just it's okay to allow the position to open, but it's got to open up on my terms. Yeah, here he's trying to hit me with bishop e5 trick, so I'm just gonna stop that. Yeah, it's interesting. Neither opponent can really blow up the other here, so we both have to navigate the right balance between strategy and tactics. So he's trying to open up this line first. I'm just going to cover f7 so that knight at e6 can't come in immediately. Alright, but now he's going to hit here. Going to get tactical. I'll make more of a nuisance. This is best. So I'm avoiding this check here, and I've got threats with bishop g2. The trouble for me might be that bishop g2 may not be enough. Okay, so he's got some mate threats of his own. I think I've got to commit to knight at f3. Knight at a6 is dangerous. Queen at c8 is a mate threat. We'll see if I've overcommitted myself now. So I've had to make a move for safety. Can't play bishop takes because then queen at c8 will mate after knight at d7. Alright, he's going for the jugular. He's not mucking around. I'm going to struggle to defend this one. Too good again. Too good again. No, he found a better way to attack. I think maybe bishop at g6 allowed bishop g5, which got his attack rolling. And no, he was just too good, too good. He's playing much better than I am at the moment, 12-10. All right, I'm now in a position where it looks like I'm all got to try to defend defend third position rather than aim for second. I'm going to make a dent. I've got a berserk again. So against bishop b5, something different to try is knight ge7. I'm going to give that a go. And that just gives the knight on c6 a bit more support. This knight can also find ways to get active here. So I allow some weaknesses on the light squares, but a lot of strength on the dark squares. Smash, he says, hey everyone. He says, man, 11-10 is on fire these days. Crazy. Yeah, he's in fine form. Okay, so that's a pawn I want to be able to hit. I want to take the opportunity to make his pieces passive before he can use them actively. And he's decided he wants to preserve a bishop in hand so that he can cover this with a piece that was in there. Ideally, he'd probably want to put that knight on d5, but I made him put it on a passive square. Yeah, see, now I get knight f4. I think that's a critical move here. And I'd be happy to trade off this queen for these two pieces. So I think 12-10's been confident enough. He's actually withdrawn from the tournament already. He's so far ahead. Okay. Yeah, now I'm just going to keep up with the theme. Probably don't need to spend this much time. This just allows me to recycle some pieces and put more pressure on e3. Meanwhile, it's very difficult for white to penetrate the black king side. There's so much coverage on the dark squares. So he's having a go at it though. Yeah, I can only really lose on time here. And I'm not helping myself by sitting here. Queen h5 to threat a knight at g3. But I just need to move here. A knight at g3 is how I want to progress. Okay, I'm really making my life hard here for myself. Well, I should let the clock get so low. Yeah, that's just allowing the clock to get low and losing. So not a good practical play there. Clearly winning on the position and allowing time to go. So not happy with my performance at all this week. Coming up against some very good opposition and just not coming up with the goods. So Atrophy's actually overtaken me now. He's going to take third place. So Smash says, he says, John, question for you. In Crazy, if you're a piece up, you're kind of two pieces up since it's one less for your opponent and one more for you. Do you think about it like that? No, I actually don't. I tend to think if you win a piece, you're still a piece up. And that's only because of how easy it is for your opponent to recapture that material. So, by the same token, your opponent only needs to capture one piece to bring that deficit back. So, yeah, in a sense, it's really the transaction of one piece, not two. Um, but yeah, I mean, one piece is a big advantage because you actually do have two extra pieces on the board. Um, yeah, no, I see it more as one piece rather than two. Okay, here, because my opponent has no pieces in hand, it's hard to defend this e6 square. This bishop can't move, so I'm trying to get rid of this one. And now f7's become a hole. So I'm going to put pawn at e6, which is just going to threaten pawn at f7. Smash says, that's interesting. I was wondering why you didn't talk about it in those terms. That makes sense. Thanks for the answer. Okay. Yeah, here's where I should take this way. I actually don't have a mate here. I'm not sure if I've converted this in the best way. Um, just figure this should be helpful for my position. What's best here? There we go, this way. So that's threatening g8 queen. I expect him to put a piece here, but then I'll have knight at h8 as well. So I can get my queen out of dodge. Knight g6 is probably chasing the king to safety. So yeah, I've let the cat out of the bag a little bit, but have a significant material advantage from here. It's been gobbling a piece a move. Well, that's the difference in these events as well. See, my time is now running out in the tournament altogether. So if you don't find checkmate efficiently, um, you end up taking more time. Here I'm trying to make a mate threat work. I'll go queen c7 and knight at b6. So yeah, I have been able to book one last result, but Atrophy's still too far ahead. So I'll finish in 4th place. So look, let's find the next tournament. Crazyhouse Madness. So I'll finish in 4th position there. That's still alright. But look, I'm a little bit disappointed with that. Just not so much the result, but the way I've played some positions. So we're into the next event. This is the 32nd event. I'm up against Master 10. Got to shift gears pretty quickly. Get into fast gear. That's a good move, knight h5. He's done that before, capturing here. Alright, got a motor now. Here's where it goes quickly. Oh, running short on time. Too slow. Too slow. Atrophied says hi all and GD to Jan. Yeah, good game, Atrophied. I like the finish with queen takes g4 in our match. Nice. Okay. Got to roll up my sleeves and try to play 30 seconds. I may have to cut my stream short depending on when my family wakes up. While it's a benefit that it starts an hour later for me now with daylight saving, it also means my family wakes up a little bit earlier as well. So I'm not sure if I'll be able to get through the full event before I need to stop. But I'll go as far as I can. So Penguin IM, he's straight out of the blocks. 12 teens coming as well. Let's see if he can do a double where he takes both events in the same week. He's man of the hour at the moment. Okay, math ace. Alright, we need to start getting some checks on. Oh, I've left that open. I'm threatening pawn at c7 if he takes here. Alright, I'm gonna get the king in the open while I can. Now I don't have pieces to attack with, so I need to be quite resourceful in how I open the position. But there, pick up a piece here. Need to try to maximize the potential of the open king. So happy to cash in with a piece. So while he's not mated straight away, I've at least got good play. Okay, Penguin. So I don't see Penguin in the other event. I only see him in this event. He's very good at the fast chess. We'll go this way. Oh, my mouse slipped there. That wasn't meant to happen. Down a fair bit of time now. Let's motor. Let's motor. Go, 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 go. Alright, so for those of you who've just joined the channel, I'll let you know that I'll be starting up a new fundraising event. It's for cancer again. I'll be doubling my distance relative to last time. So last time I had a cancer donations event. I was walking 14 kilometers and seeking donations. It's actually 28 kilometers this time around. So yeah, if you'd be feeling inclined to put in a donation towards that charity event, please check out the link below. Any contribution is most welcome. There's no amount too large or small. Okay, let's get back to business though. I'm low on the clock. Need to move. Okay, Vana GX. He's moving very quickly. Oh, he's seen that. I'm trying to sneak in knight at f3 here. Okay, 12-10 again, just straight out of the blocks, absolutely smashing it. We're joined with Oppa Wezen, Master Tan, Pure Essence is here, Saturos. Okay, let's try my hand at 32nd against him. Here we go. Oh, this one's hanging. Hang on. What's going on in the position? Uh, oh, whoa. He's too good. Too good. Atrophy, he says 2 hours of 30-second is mind melting for me. He says my quality of play collapses 30 or 60 minutes in. Um, yeah, no, this 30-second event is intense, particularly with the level of competition. There are some mighty good competitors to turn up each week. Okay, let's get ambitious. G5. Alright, Master Tan's off to a good start. He hasn't dropped a game either. Opal Wezen's in the mix. Oh, I'm surprised Chicken didn't come along for the 30 seconds. Let's go, let's go. Smash is making a comment that the number of moves we're playing in a 30-second game is intense. Certainly feels that way here. It is full-on engagement. Okay. Trying to find a way in. I don't think this works, by the way. Not good enough. Not good enough. Master 10 and 12-teen. They're just running all over me at the moment. I really feel like the old guy here. Okay. Skopje 1-2-3. I'm off to a slow start. So there's a discovery that's going to hit me in a moment. Um, ooh, yuck, yuck, yuck. That's not good at all. I've got to duck and weave to get out of this one. Alright, I've been able to find my way out. Oh, he took 12-teen. I wanted to see. Upper Wesson again. Mm. Oh, I'm endangering the clock again. I don't think I've yet shifted gears to 32nd. Oh dear. Oh, he should have won that one. I don't know why he let the foot off the pedal on the speed. I was gone for all money at the end there. I think he had a mouse slip actually, to be fair. He meant to capture my queen, but he missed. Okay, 12-teen again. This will be fun. Okay, I predicted he might change his opening and he did. Have I move ordered myself here? Oh, he's so quick at the end. I was trying to sneak in a check at the end there, but it didn't work out for me. All right, my chat's gone very active here. Um, I'm not able to keep up with it actually. Um, Good to see when the channel just becomes an open chat about Crazyhouse. Happy for it to be used in that fashion. My opponent's given up a fair bit of material here. We're going to try to capture it all. 'I'm a long way down the standings today. I'm running a ninth. I'm half the points of Master 10. Okay. Skopje. Twelve-10 again. Let's go. Okay. Let's see if get the move order right this time. Oh, I took one off 12-10. Oh, maybe I'm still not too old for this. Alright, if I'm not responding to the chat, at least my fellow streamer Atrophied is putting plenty of chat into the channel. That's good. Um, Oh, I can hear my little one. She's woken up. I'm gonna have to make this my last match. Um, I'm gonna close the stream off here. Hey, Belle, how you going? Um, thanks to you all for joining. Um, Sorry I haven't put up a better performance today, but you can't win them all, right? So yeah, just one last reminder before I go. If you can have a look at the link that I provided below, I'm taking part in the Seven Bridges Walk. Hey, it's a yeah, it's a bridge. Yes, it is a bridge. um, yeah, it's a 28-kilometer walk. It's raising funds for cancer. I'll be putting a link at the bottom of my videos for the next few weeks. The event's taking place on 30th October, so this will just run over the next 3 weeks to the end of the month. Um, yeah, if you'd be so inclined to donate, that'd be much appreciated. Um, all right. Sorry, I haven't caught up with the comments at the end there, but it's just gone too far. Thanks to all of you for coming. We'll see you next time. Take care.